Sunlight, dappled and shy, touched the ancient forest floor. Giant oaks, gnarled and wise, whispered secrets in the breeze. Their leaves, a canopy of emerald and gold, rustled with unseen life. Jack, a young boy with eyes full of wonder, stepped cautiously into the woods. The air hung heavy with the scent of moss and damp earth. A symphony of birdsong filled the air, a melody both beautiful and strange. Sunbeams danced on the forest floor, painting shifting patterns of light and shadow. He ventured deeper, drawn by an unseen force. A clearing emerged, bathed in an ethereal glow. In its center stood a circle of mushrooms, their caps glowing with an otherworldly luminescence. The air crackled with unseen energy, sending shivers down Jack's spine. He reached out, his fingers trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. As his hand touched the largest mushroom, the world dissolved around him. A wave of dizziness swept over him, followed by a feeling of weightlessness. The forest, with its whispers and shadows, faded away, replaced by a blinding light. He squeezed his eyes shut, bracing himself for the unknown. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a realm unlike any he could have imagined. A vibrant sky, painted in hues of lavender and silver, stretched overhead. Trees taller than any he had ever seen soared into the sky, their leaves shimmering like 1,000 jewels. The air hummed with a strange energy, making his skin tingle. Creatures of myth and legend moved through the landscape. Winged creatures, their scales catching the light, soared through the air. Small furry animals with eyes like glowing embers scurried through the undergrowth. Flowers of impossible beauty bloomed in profusion, their petals unfurling in a riot of color. He saw rivers of molten gold flowing through fields of crystal grass. Waterfalls cascaded from floating islands, their waters sparkling with an otherworldly light. The very air seemed to vibrate with magic, an intoxicating symphony of light and sound. He had stumbled into a realm of pure enchantment. But even in this paradise, danger lurked. As he ventured further into this magical world, he noticed shadows moving at the edge of his vision. Whispers, dark and menacing, reached his ears, carried on the wind. A sense of foreboding settled over him, a chill that ran deeper than the strange, cool air. He encountered fantastical beings, some friendly, some wary. A group of sprites, their laughter like tinkling bells, led him to a hidden spring. A wise old tree, its branches heavy with the weight of centuries, shared secrets of the realm. He learned of the delicate balance between light and darkness that governed this world. He discovered that this magical realm was not just a place of wonder, but also a battleground. Malevolent forces, creatures of shadow and fear, threatened to consume the light. They sought to plunge this beautiful world into eternal darkness, to silence the music of life and joy. He learned of the prophecy, whispered among the creatures of light, of a young hero who would rise to challenge the darkness. He dismissed it as a fantastical tale, a story told to frighten children. But deep down, a seed of doubt, of hope, began to take root in his heart. The shadows grew bolder, their whispers louder. They were drawn to his presence, sensing in him a potential threat to their plans. He found himself hunted, pursued by creatures of nightmare, their eyes burning with malevolent intent. He had to escape, to find a way to fight back. Fear, cold and paralyzing, gripped his heart. He ran, his breath coming in ragged gasps, his legs burning with exertion. The creatures of shadow were relentless, their forms shifting and swirling in his wake. Their laughter, filled with cruel amusement, echoed behind him. He stumbled and fell, his hands scraping against the rough ground. Panic surged through him, threatening to overwhelm him. He had to get up, had to keep moving. The fate of this world, this wondrous and fragile realm, seemed to rest on his shoulders. He scrambled to his feet, his eyes darting around, searching for a way out. The whispers grew louder, the shadows closer. He felt a searing pain on his arm as a dark claw raked across his skin. He cried out, his voice lost in the immensity of the forest. Then, through the darkness, he saw it. A faint glow, flickering like a beacon in the night. Hope surged through him, a lifeline in a sea of despair. He ran towards it, his fear momentarily forgotten, his eyes fixed on the promise of sanctuary. Section 5, Flight and Pursuit. The glow led him to a hidden grove bathed in a soft, ethereal light. Trees with silver bark and leaves of spun moonlight surrounded a pool of shimmering water. The air thrummed with a powerful energy, a sense of peace and tranquility that pushed back the encroaching darkness. He collapsed by the edge of the pool, his chest heaving, his body trembling with exhaustion. He cupped his hands and drank deeply from the cool, refreshing water. As he drank, he felt a surge of strength flowing through him, mending his wounds, soothing his battered spirit. He knew he could not stay here forever. The respite was temporary, a brief pause in the relentless pursuit. He had to find a way to fight back, to protect this beautiful world from the encroaching darkness. But first, he had to understand. Heaving himself to his feet, he looked around at the tranquil grove. It was a sanctuary, yes, but it was also a prison if he let it be. He had to find the courage to leave this safe haven and face the darkness that threatened to consume everything he had come to cherish. Section 6. The Heart of Courage. He spent days in the grove, his only companions the whispering trees and the creatures of light who sought refuge there. He learned of the origins of the darkness, of the ancient evil that sought to consume all of creation. He learned of the brave warriors who had fought and fallen, their sacrifices etched in the very fabric of this world. He trained, honing his body and mind for the battle ahead. The creatures of light, sensing his growing courage, taught him how to wield the magic that flowed through this realm. He learned to summon shields of light, to hurl bolts of pure energy, to move with a speed and agility he had never thought possible. But it was not just physical strength and magical prowess that he needed. It was courage, a quality he had to find within himself. He had to face his fears, to confront the darkness not just with power, but with the unwavering belief that light would ultimately triumph. And as he trained, he felt a change within himself. The fear that had haunted him, that had threatened to cripple him, began to recede. It was replaced by a steely determination, a fierce resolve to protect this world, this magical realm that had awakened something deep within his soul. Section 7. Strategies of Light. The creatures of light, their faces etched with worry but their eyes shining with hope, gathered around him. They shared their knowledge of the enemy, of their strengths and weaknesses, of the lay of the land where the final battle would be fought. He listened intently, absorbing every detail, every nuance. He studied the maps they drew in the air, lines of light tracing out the contours of the land, marking the enemy's strongholds, highlighting potential points of ambush. He devised strategies, drawing upon his own knowledge of tactics gleaned from books and games, adapting them to the unique challenges of this magical realm. He knew he couldn't defeat the darkness head-on. They were too numerous, too powerful. He had to be clever, had to use their own strengths against them. He would use their darkness to hide, their overconfidence to his advantage. He would strike swiftly, decisively, and then melt back into the shadows. He shared his plans with the creatures of light, their initial skepticism giving way to grudging admiration. They had fought for so long, had seen so much loss, that they had almost forgotten the power of hope, of strategic thinking. His arrival, his unwavering belief in their cause, had rekindled that flame. Section 8. The Final Confrontation. The day of the final confrontation dawned, a somber gray sky mirroring the tension that gripped the air. The creatures of light, their faces grim but resolute, gathered around him, their weapons drawn, their eyes burning with a cold fire. He met their gazes, his own heart pounding in his chest, but his resolve unwavering. The battle raged for what seemed like an eternity. The forces of darkness, a tide of shadow and rage, crashed against the defenders of light. Jack, a whirlwind of motion, fought with a ferocity he never knew he possessed, his every strike infused with the magic of the realm and the burning desire to protect this world. He moved like a phantom, striking from the shadows, his blade a silver arc in the darkness. He brought down creatures twice his size, his courage and cunning more than a match for their brute strength. He fought alongside the creatures of light, their combined forces a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. But the enemy was relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. For every creature of darkness that fell, two more seemed to take its place. The tide of battle ebbed and flowed, hope flickering like a candle in the wind. He knew that he had to strike a decisive blow, had to find a way to end this conflict once and for all. Section 9. A Bittersweet Triumph. He saw his opportunity. The leader of the dark forces, a creature of pure malice and shadow, had revealed itself, drunk on its own power, confident in its inevitable victory. It was a risk, but he knew it was their only chance. He had to draw upon all his strength, all his courage, for this final desperate gamble. He broke through the enemy ranks, his path illuminated by bursts of light magic, his movements a blur to their shadowed vision. He reached the leader, their eyes locking in a battle of wills. He fought with every ounce of strength he possessed, his blade singing a song of defiance against the encroaching darkness. And then, in a blinding flash of light and a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of the realm, the leader of the dark forces fell. The remaining creatures of darkness, their leader vanquished, their morale shattered, faltered and fled, their forms dissolving into the shadows from whence they came. Victory, hard-won and bittersweet, settled over the battlefield. The creatures of light, their faces etched with exhaustion but their eyes shining with relief and gratitude, gathered around him, their cheers echoing through the battered landscape. He had done it. He had saved their world. Section 10. The Hero's Return. He stood before the shimmering portal, its energy calling to him, promising to return him to his own world. He looked back at the faces of the creatures of light, their eyes filled with gratitude and a touch of sadness. He knew that he had found a home here, a purpose, a family. He had changed, transformed by his experiences in this magical realm. He was no longer the same timid boy who had wandered into the woods that day. He was a hero, a warrior, a leader. He carried within him the courage of a lion, the wisdom of an owl, the heart of a true champion. He stepped into the portal, the familiar feeling of dizziness washing over him. The magical realm, with its wonders and dangers, faded away, replaced by the familiar sights and sounds of his own world. He emerged from the circle of mushrooms, the forest around him seeming somehow smaller, less grand. He carried the memory of his adventures, the lessons he had learned, the friendships he had forged, deep within his heart. He knew that a part of him would always remain in that magical realm, forever bound to the creatures of light, forever a guardian of their world. And he knew that he would carry the spirit of adventure, the courage to face any challenge, with him for the rest of his days.